So I started here when I was 18 years old. I wanted to be a mechanic, but the opening they had was at the parts counter, and I enjoyed the parts counter. They actually let me back in the shop a little bit. I worked on a couple tractors. This would have been back in 1984, so I worked on Ferguson tractors and did an engine overhaul and a couple small projects in the back. But then the help that they needed was up at the counter, and one of the owners back then told me, he said, "You just go back up to the parts counter. That's a good spot for you." So I ended up working up at the parts counter for 27 years. And in that time, similar to Jason's story, I had an opportunity to buy stock. So after I had been here 14 years, I was able to buy stock in the company. We started buying out one of the retiring partners, and that was a good move. My children were young. I didn't think the timing was right, but now that I look back, that's when I had the energy. So I think it was a good move. The other thing we had the opportunity to do is buy the real estate from the original owners. So we ended up buying that. We, meaning the four younger shareholders at the time, bought the real estate from Lowe and Don Young, and that was a good move for us too. Yeah, so Lowe Young started in 1949. It's the last names of the original owners. So when I started here, Roy Lowe and Don Young were still living, and they were active in the business. They've both retired and passed away and sold out, of course. All that is history behind us. So they started out as a Minneapolis Moline gas station, and they sold Sahaya gas. So it was a gas station, and they sold tractors and Lincoln welders. So back then, this road in front of our dealership was Route 30, so it was a lot of highway traffic, and they serviced a lot of cars. And eventually, the Minneapolis Moline brand went away, and Massey Ferguson, New Holland in the 50s, and other brands from that point were added. But that was the original history. It was Minneapolis Moline and Lowe Young. Typically, Lowe Young in the past has sold to employees that work here. That's one of the requirements, is that the owner group, if you retire, you sell your shares. So thankfully, right now, we have 3 younger shareholders that are in the process of buying in. And that seems to be working well. 2 shareholders that have been here for a long time, 46, 47 years, have retired now, and we're in the process of buying them out. We have a pretty good mix. I would say that the diversity is helpful, but we have a primary customer base as dairy farmers. I mean, that's our primary focus is farmers. But we have some cash crop, have some beef, have some chicken, pig farmers, different mix there. A little bit of landscapers. We sell skid steers to those folks, but primarily the dairy farmer is who we focus on. As far as our brand names, our big 3, of course, are AGCO, New Holland, and Krone. And the AGCO brands are Fendt and Massey Ferguson. I've been a Massey Ferguson dealer since 1959. I think New Holland dealer since 1952. And started selling Fendt tractors in January of 2005. So Krone in the mid-'80s, I think 1986 or so, we started selling Krone. And a lot of smaller sidelines too that we carry, Kinsey, Great Plains, Woods. But the big ones are Krone and New Holland and AGCO. I think probably the biggest thing for us that really put us on the map was in 2013, we built a 12,000 square foot shop, and that was a good move. We were crunched into an old building that was built back in the 40s and 50s, and we were just out of space. So that was a really good move. Maybe another thing that made a big difference for us was including some of the younger. When I say younger, now I'm one of the older guys, but including some of the younger shareholders, getting them to buy in, and the younger people seem to bring energy and fresh ideas. So that's been a good thing for us to bring in people. And like right now, Jason and I have 3 partners that are 20 years younger than us. So they bring the energy and a lot of the higher end technology to the plate. That's been good. We try to run an honest organization here. All glory to God. We've had a very successful business here. But when we hire people, they're people of character, honest, hard workers. Typically who we hire are farm kids. Got a work ethic, not afraid to get out of bed in the morning. If they can milk cows before work, before school, they can work for us. So we try to keep our culture. Our culture is extremely important to us. So very, very important who we hire. We're very selective. We might interview somebody 3, 4, 5 times before we offer them a position. So we're very careful about our culture.